What's going on, everyone? It's the Fantasy Football Almanac back at it with another fantasy football video. In my last video, I discussed Dynasty buy low wide receivers. Check that out right over here. Today, we're going to be talking about Dynasty buy low running backs. Guys you can get that are relatively young, relatively cheap, and will produce for your team. I mean, what more can you ask for? I think for a Dynasty buy low video for the running back position, you need to have some younger players because running backs just age out so quickly. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we get into it, if you guys could, go down and give this video a like. I'm answering every single comment. So you guys have any questions, please let me know. I love talking about fantasy football. It's my favorite thing to do. So go down in the comments. I could talk for hours about fantasy football. Any questions you guys have, anything, and subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on. It would mean the world to me. Love you guys all so much. Let's hop right into it. First Dynasty buy low guy I have is Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is the ultimate buy low in all formats. I mean, on Underdog right now, he's going off of the board at pick 43, which is painful to me. I mean, Najee Harris is a borderline RB1 in my opinion. Last year, finishing with 1,250 yards from scrimmage and 10 total touchdowns. That's fine by me. I will gladly take that from the running back position, especially when you can get him as an RB2. And right now in fantasy football, he is 25 years old. Right now, from a Dynasty perspective, he did just turn 25 years old on March 9th when I'm recording this. This probably got like March 11th or something. He did literally turn 25 today. In fact, on Pro Football Reference, it literally says happy birthday to him. Literally says happy birthday to him. I didn't even know that was a thing, but it's pretty cool. Anyways, back to the video. Najee Harris, 25 years old, exactly. That's a fine age for another 3 or so years of great fantasy production at the position. And he's going pretty cheap. Right now on Keep Trade Cut, he's going in a tier of running backs with a lot of people older than him. For one, Nick Chubb, Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, all older than him and all going around the same spot as him. He's going behind Austin Eckler, who's a full 3 years older than him. And he's right in between Javonte Williams and Zach Charbonnet. And while I would rather have Javonte Williams, maybe potentially doing another buy low Dynasty running backs video soon, smash that like button if you'd like to see that. I think Najee Harris is just ridiculously undervalued where he's sitting. Furthermore, from weeks 10 on in fantasy football, he was literally the running back 5, which is absolutely fine. I mean, that's great. From a guy you can get as an RB2, the running back 5, that is insane. And while I might not expect RB5 yet again, I think top 10 RB is well within his range of outcomes from the amount of workload he gets. And right now, I mean, you're still going to have to pay a first-round pick for Najee Harris, that's for sure. But I don't think you're going to have to give up the 101, the 102, the 103. I mean, right now on Keep Trade Cut, he's literally going behind 8 rookies in a Superflex format, the last of which being Jordan Addison. So realistically, that puts his price point around the 109, which I would be absolutely fine paying for Najee Harris. A 25-year-old RB1 in an offense that loves to utilize the running back very heavily. Either Najee Harris is a supreme buy low. Go out and get him if you're a decent contender and you need a running back. The next guy I want to talk about is 24-year-old J.K. Dobbins. Pretty young for a running back, especially a running back in a run-first offense. And yet he's only going one spot ahead of Derrick Henry on Keep Trade Cut. And while yes, Derrick Henry's great for a contending roster, I don't know how much longer he has realistically. The running back position is very fickle, so I don't know how much longer he's going to last. And I think J.K. Dobbins is a great running back who was hampered by injuries past 2 seasons, which, I mean, realistically, it is going to take a while for you to come back from a torn ACL. And J.K. Dobbins is only 24 years old, 2 years removed from his ACL injury, and he's only 1 year older than Javonte Williams, and yet Javonte Williams is going 30 spots ahead of him on Keep Trade Cut. That's crazy to me, and I love Javonte Williams. Again, I do think he has a buy low as well. But J.K. Dobbins is a buy low of all buy lows. This is a running back who flashed top 10 RB potential. Maybe not RB1 because he doesn't have the receiving capabilities of a guy like CMC. But he definitely flashed Nick Chubb level potential in an offense that, again, loves to run the ball. I am absolutely fine going after J.K. Dobbins where he is. I personally got J.K. Dobbins in my league on October 21st, 2022, one day before my birthday. I traded J.K. Dobbins for Eno Benjamin, Marquez Callaway, a 3rd-round pick, and a 2nd-round pick. For J.K. Dobbins. Granted, this was at the time when Eno Benjamin was peak Eno Benjamin. The game after he dropped like 21 fantasy points. and J.K. Dobbins was doing nothing. I think he was injured at that point. But the fact that I was able to get that without giving up a first-round pick is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Again, for a 24-year-old running back in a historically great offense, and somebody who we know is going to be getting the workload when they come back. Maybe not 20 carries a game, but few running backs do. I think 15 carries a game, 16 carries a game is well within his wheelhouse with a target or two per game, which is fine. I will gladly take that for J.K. Dobbins. Very talented running back, and that's why he is my number 2 buy low. My number 3 buy low is Cam Akers, and I think Cam Akers is one of the best buy lows in all of fantasy football right now. I mean, one, he's only 23 years old, but will be 24 when the season starts. Not that that matters. He's still going to be a pretty young running back, and he is going for ridiculously cheap right now. I mean, he was arguably one of the biggest busts this fantasy season, not having over 16 carries once for the first 12 weeks of the season. I mean, there was a point where he was completely benched. There was a point where he was going to get traded. Things got pretty ugly for Cam Akers. But from weeks 13 on, his usage rate skyrocketed from only getting around 30% of total snaps to averaging over 80% of the team's snaps and churning out running back 4 fantasy production over the last 6 games of the season. 16.8 was his average in half PPR scoring, ahead of Najee Harris, ahead of Josh Jacobs, ahead of Derrick Henry, ahead of James Conner, ahead of Saquon Barkley. I mean, he was great the last 6 games of the season, but nobody's going to remember that because of how badly he burned you the first half of the season. I think most Josh Jacobs owners are going to be scarred from what he did early, and this Rams team is going to be pretty bad. But when you're picking up value like this from a guy who had 900 total yards from scrimmage, despite the fact that he really didn't play for most of the season, and also now he's going to have another year removed from his torn Achilles, I think Cam Akers is a great value, especially considering he's pretty much in no man's land in terms of the tiers. I mean, right near A.J. Dillon, Miles Sanders, and we have no idea where Miles Sanders is going to be. If you want to check out my free agent prediction video, which includes Miles Sanders, you can check it out somewhere over here. But either way, I mean, I don't think Miles Sanders is going to be in a situation where he's getting the full workload, nor is he going to be in a situation as great as the Eagles again. Yes, I may be putting on some rose-colored glasses with Cam Akers, but you're getting him for super cheap. I think he's worth the risk, especially because he's so young. The next guy I want to talk about is Khalil Herbert, and Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery are pretty much being drafted around the same spot. On Underdog, it's starting to widen a little bit, but on Keep Trade Cut, I mean, they're 8 spots away from each other, only 2 running back spots away from each other. So these guys are valued the same, but Khalil Herbert, when he played, he looked so much better. I mean, I don't understand how you could look at David Montgomery and look at Khalil Herbert and say that David Montgomery is a better player. Yes, he might be a better pass catcher, but Khalil Herbert looked elite when he was playing. I'm pretty much betting on the eye test here because Khalil Herbert passed the eye test with flying colors. I mean, it was brutal to watch if you were a David Montgomery owner, but I think you got to go out and get Khalil Herbert just for pure talent alone. Also, he's going to be a free agent. He will most likely be moving on from the Bears, leaving Khalil Herbert as the sole beneficiary of the workload that the Bears are going to give him. They are a run-first team, so I imagine they're going to be giving Khalil Herbert the workload pretty frequently. While he might not be the greatest pass catcher in the world, that's fine when you're getting the volume. When meanwhile he's valued right next to Tank Bigsby, and we have no idea where Tank Bigsby is going to go, and we have no idea if Tank Bigsby is even starting. I think Khalil Herbert is nearly guaranteed to be starting, especially considering the Bears have so many holes. I imagine they're not going to be drafting a running back. But let's move on to the last running back here, a guy who's really just a stash for depth. But I think Joshua Kelley is in a really, really good position, and he's pretty much going at pick 240 on Underdog, and he's listed as the 305th best player on Keep Trade Cut. I think Joshua Kelley's pretty underrated. I'm not gonna lie, the odds he becomes much are low, but he looked pretty good in limited usage last year for 1, and 2, he's the direct number 2 back behind Austin Eckler, and Austin Eckler's workload has been pretty huge the last few seasons, and I don't imagine they're gonna be drafting a running back. And also, I don't think Isaiah Spiller's a threat. I mean, at the end of the day, Isaiah Spiller is not the body type of a running back that is going to have success in the NFL. He's a similar body type to Austin Eckler, and I know Austin Eckler had success, but Austin Eckler is an anomaly among anomalies. I don't think Isaiah Spiller is going to be that same level of an anomaly. So other than that, I think Joshua Kelley is going to be the RB2 in this offense. And if that's the case and Austin Eckler goes down, you have a great handcuff in one of the best offenses in the league, and you pretty much got him for the last pick in the 3rd round. I mean, he's pretty much worth nothing. But anyways, guys, that's going to be it from me. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, go give this video a like. Again, answering every single comment. I love talking fantasy football. So go ask me any questions down below and subscribe to the channel. Turn that notification bell on so you don't miss another video. With that, though, love you guys all so much. And have a good day, a good night, and a good life. Turn that notification bell on. And if you want to check out any of my other videos or my channel, you can go somewhere over here. I'll have that for you guys. But anyways, have a good day, a good night, and a good life.